So, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight up. When it comes to love, relationships, and the way a man talks to you, his words are not just words. They are windows into his mind. They are mirrors reflecting his character, and they are roadmaps pointing toward where that relationship is headed. And too many times, women ignore what is right in front of them because they want to believe in the potential of what could be. But let me give you some real truth. When a man tells you who he is, you better believe him the first time. And if he says certain things to you, you don't stick around to figure out if he's joking, if he's serious, or if you can fix him. No, you take those words as a flashing neon sign that says, danger ahead, and you walk away immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something I've learned over the years from watching relationships, from listening to women cry about the same kind of men, and from hearing men talk about what they want and don't want. Words matter. A man's words are like a blueprint to his intentions. And if you learn to listen carefully, you won't have to waste your time trying to figure him out. Too often, women hear a man say something, and instead of taking it at face value, they try to twist it into what they hope he meant. They say, maybe he doesn't mean it like that. Maybe he'll change his mind. Maybe if I show him how loyal I am, he'll see my worth. No, let me tell you, when a man tells you who he is, believe him the first time. Stop negotiating with words that are already plain and clear. If he says certain things to you, those words are not just a conversation, they are warnings. And when you hear them, you don't stick around hoping he'll change. You walk away immediately. The first thing you need to understand is that a man who values you will never put you in a place where you have to guess his intentions. He will never make you feel small for wanting love, respect, and commitment. He will never make you question whether you're worth more than he's offering. But a man who doesn't see your value, a man who's only out for himself, will reveal it in the things he says. He may not even realize he's exposed himself, but trust me, the truth always slips out. And if you ignore it, you're signing up for years of pain, confusion, and wasted energy. Now, let me break this down. If a man tells you, I don't want anything serious, believe that. I don't care how good he looks, how much fun he is, how much chemistry you feel, or how much potential you see. He just told you he's not signing up for the same thing you want. Too many women stay thinking he'll come around, thinking he just needs time. What you don't understand is that a man knows what he wants from the very beginning. And if he says he doesn't want anything serious, that's his truth. If you stick around hoping for more, you're setting yourself up for heartbreak because he already told you he's not giving it. The next thing is when he looks at you and says, you're too much or you're too emotional. Listen to me carefully. Your feelings are not too much. Your expectations are not too high. A man who says that is trying to make you feel guilty for being human, for wanting love, for wanting consistency. That's his way of saying, I don't have the capacity to deal with your heart. Don't shrink yourself to fit inside a man's comfort zone. Don't dull your shine because somebody else can't handle your life. The right man will love your passion. He will respect your emotions. He will honor your standards. If he says you're too much, what he really means is I'm not enough. And that's exactly why you should walk away. Another one that sounds sweet at first, but is actually dangerous, is when a man tells you, I'm not like other guys. See, here's the thing. Real men don't need to announce their difference. You'll see it in how they treat you, how they show up, how they protect your heart. But when a man makes that declaration too early, what he's really doing is trying to get you to lower your guard. He wants you to trust him quickly without proving anything. And 9 times out of 10, those are the very men who end up showing you they are exactly like the ones who broke your heart before. When a man is truly different, his actions will say it louder than his words ever could. So if he says it, don't relax, watch him closer. And then there's this one, I don't believe in marriage, or I'll never get married. Ladies, listen to me. Don't waste your time thinking you'll be the exception. Don't think, oh, he just hasn't met the right one yet, and when he sees how good I am, he'll change. No, he won't. If marriage is what you want and he tells you it's not what he wants, that's a roadblock you can't get around. You'll end up investing years, giving your best, and one day you'll look up and realize you spent all that time with someone who never intended to give you what you were waiting for. Don't negotiate with your own dreams. If he says he doesn't believe in marriage, take him at his word and go find somebody whose vision matches yours. And the last one, maybe the most toxic of all, is when a man says, you'll never find anyone better than me. That's not love. That's control. That's a man trying to scare you into staying because deep down he knows he doesn't deserve you. Let me tell you something. If a man really believed he was the best thing in your life, he wouldn't have to say it. He would show it through his actions, his love, his consistency, his respect. When a man tries to make you feel like you can't do better, what he's really doing is hoping you never realize your worth. That's manipulation, and it's poison to your spirit. Don't ever let a man convince you that he is your only option. The world is full of men who would be proud to love you right. So when you hear these things, don't debate them, don't explain them away, and don't wait for him to change. Hear them for what they are, warnings. And when the warning comes, you don't stick around trying to fix it. You walk away immediately. Because your peace, your heart, and your future are worth more than staying with someone who told you from the beginning that he couldn't give you what you deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real. A man can dress up his actions. He can show up smooth. He can say all the right things for a little while, but sooner or later his words will tell on him. A man's words are like little leaks in a dam. You ignore them long enough and eventually the whole thing comes crashing down. That's why you've got to train yourself to listen, not just hear. Because when a man says certain things to you, those words are not just sentences, they are warnings, red flags, alarms going off loud and clear. And if you've got any love for yourself, you don't wait around to see if he's joking or if he'll change his mind. You don't waste years trying to turn his no into your yes. No, man, you get up, you respect yourself, and you walk away immediately. Now, I've been around long enough to know that women often hear a man say something, and instead of believing it, they try to explain it away. He says, I don't want a relationship. And she says, well, maybe he just hasn't healed yet. Maybe if I show him loyalty, he'll come around. He says, you're too much. And she says, maybe I do overreact sometimes. He says, I don't believe in marriage. And she says, he just hasn't met someone like me. Let me stop you right there. When a man says something clear, you don't rewrite the script. You take it for what it is. Because those words, they are his truth. And if you ignore it, you will end up hurt, disappointed, and wondering why you didn't listen to your gut. The first one is simple. If a man says, I don't want anything serious, believe it. Don't think you're going to be the one who changes his mind. Don't stick around trying to love him into commitment. Let me tell you something, men know what they want. And when a man is serious about you, you won't have to wonder, you won't have to convince him, you won't have to beg for clarity. He'll make it clear. But when he says he don't want anything serious, he just told you the end of the story. All you're doing by staying is dragging yourself through unnecessary chapters that were never meant for you. Then comes the second one. If a man says you're too much or you're too emotional, understand what that really means. That's not about you being too much. That's about him not being enough. A man who is secure, a man who is ready, a man who truly values love. He doesn't shame you for your emotions. He appreciates them. He respects them. He knows that a woman's emotions are part of what makes her nurturing, loyal, and strong. But a man who tells you you're too much is really saying, I can't handle your heart. And if he can't handle your heart now, what makes you think he'll handle it better later? Don't let anyone make you shrink yourself to fit inside their comfort zone. And here's another one that might sound flattering, but it's actually a trap. When a man says, I'm not like other guys, don't just fall for that line. Because if a man is really different, you won't have to be told. You'll see it in how he treats you. You'll see it in his actions, his consistency, his effort. The men who shout the loudest about how they're not like others are often the ones who end up being exactly the same, sometimes worse. A real man doesn't need to announce his difference. His behavior will prove it. So when you hear that line, don't drop your guard, keep watching closely, because that's usually the sign you're about to get played. Now, one of the biggest ones you cannot ignore is when a man says, I don't believe in marriage, or I'll never get married. Listen, I don't care how much chemistry you feel, how much time you've invested, or how many excuses you come up with. If marriage is something you want, and he tells you up front it's something he doesn't believe in, then you two are on two different roads heading in opposite directions. Don't think you're going to be the exception to his rule. Don't think your love is going to change a man's lifelong belief. What will happen is you'll spend years giving him your best, and one day you'll realize you gave your dream away for someone who never planned to give it back. If he says he doesn't believe in marriage, believe him. And then there's the most manipulative line of all. When a man says, you'll never find anyone better than me. That's not confidence. That's fear talking. That's control. That's him trying to put chains around your mind so you don't recognize your own worth. Because let me tell you something right now. Yes, you can do better. If a man really believed he was the best thing in your life, he wouldn't have to say it. His love, his commitment, his actions, his consistency will show it every single day. But the moment a man starts trying to convince you that you can't do better, that's the moment you know you already deserve better. That's arrogance. That's manipulation. And that's not the language of love. Ladies, I want you to understand this. Love is not supposed to confuse you. Love is not supposed to make you feel small. Love is not supposed to feel like a battle where you're constantly trying to prove your worth. When a man is for you, his words will line up with his actions, and both will build you, not break you. So when you hear these words, I don't want anything serious. You're too much. I'm not like other guys. I don't believe in marriage. You'll never find anyone better than me. Don't argue. Don't debate. Don't hope for change. Take them for what they are, warnings. And when you get a warning, you don't stand in the middle of the road waiting for the car to hit you. You move. You walk away with your head held high because you know your value and you know your time is too precious to waste on someone who already told you they can't give you what you deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes the hardest thing in the world is to walk away from somebody you care about, somebody you've invested time in, somebody who makes your heart skip. But I'm here to tell you this truth. Love without respect is not love at all. And one of the clearest ways you can see whether a man respects you is by paying attention to what he says. Because when a man opens his mouth, he reveals his intentions, his character, and his heart. Too many women get caught up in how a man looks, how he kisses, how he makes them laugh, and they miss what his words are screaming. You can't afford to miss it because his words are the clues that tell you if you're building a future or wasting your time. And there are certain things a man will say that should never be excused, never be negotiated, never be brushed aside. If you hear him, you don't stick around and analyze. You walk away immediately. Now, let's start with the obvious. If a man says, I don't want anything serious, then he just told you the whole story. There's no hidden meaning, no secret interpretation, no little puzzle for you to solve. He's telling you his reality. But too many women hear that and think, well, maybe I can change his mind. Maybe he just doesn't know what love feels like yet. Maybe when he sees how loyal I am, he'll realize I'm the one. Listen, when a man says he don't want anything serious, he's already made his choice. If you stay, you're not changing his mind. You're just agreeing to play a role you never signed up for. You sign a silent contract that says, I'll give you commitment even if you give me none. And that contract only ends one way, with you heartbroken. Another line that should make your ears ring is when a man says you too much or you're too emotional. Ladies, don't you ever let somebody make you feel bad for having a heart. Don't you ever apologize for wanting clarity, wanting honesty, wanting effort. You're not too much, you're not too needy, you're not asking for the impossible. You are asking for the bare minimum of love and respect. And if a man calls that too much, what he's really saying is, I can't rise to meet your standard. The right man won't call you too much. He'll call you a blessing. He won't tell you to quiet your emotions. He'll hold space for them. So if somebody ever tries to shrink you down, you don't fold yourself to fit. You stand tall and walk away. And here's one I've seen too many times. I'm not like other guys. Now, it sounds smooth, doesn't it? It sounds like a compliment, like he's saying he's special, that he's going to be different from the men who came before him. But let me tell you, men who are truly different don't advertise it. They don't need to make announcements. You see it in their actions. You feel it in the consistency. You notice it in the way they treat you when no one is watching. When a man has to proclaim, I'm not like other guys, what he's really doing is asking you to trust words instead of watching behavior. And if you fall for that, you'll ignore the red flags when they start popping up. Ladies, never let a man talk you into believing he's different. Make him show you he's different. Now let's deal with the marriage talk. If a man says, I don't believe in marriage, or I'll never get married, you better not ignore that. If marriage is your dream, if building a family, sharing vows, building a legacy is what you want, then don't waste years waiting for a man who told you he doesn't want the same thing. Too many women hear this and think he'll change his mind one day. Maybe he just needs the right one to convince him. Nah, baby, he told you the truth. And what happens is you stay 5 years, maybe 10, hoping he'll propose, only to realize you gave the best years of your life to a man who never intended to give you the ring. If he says he doesn't believe in marriage, take him at his word and don't argue. That's your signal to leave, because your future deserves to match your vision. And the last one, the one that reveals a man's insecurity louder than anything else, is when he says, you'll never find anyone better than me. Let me make this plain. That is not love. That is manipulation. That's a man trying to lock you in with fear instead of winning you over with love. Because a man who truly loves you doesn't make you feel like you can't do better. He makes you feel like you already have the best. He doesn't need to convince you with words because his actions are proof. But when a man throws this line at you, what he's really saying is, I know I'm not giving you what you deserve, and I'm scared you'll realize it. That's control, that's arrogance, and that's poison to your spirit. The truth is, you can always do better than a man who makes you feel trapped. So ladies, I want you to remember this. Love is not about potential. Love is not about fixing somebody, convincing somebody, or waiting for somebody to change. Love is about being with someone whose words match their actions, whose intentions line up with yours, and who doesn't make you question your worth. When a man speaks, listen closely. If he tells you he doesn't want commitment, if he calls you too much, if he tries to sell himself as different without showing it, if he says he doesn't believe in marriage, or if he dares to tell you you'll never find a better, those are your signs. Those are your flashing lights telling you this is not the man for you. And when you see those signs, don't debate, don't delay, don't hope for change. Respect yourself enough to walk away, because your time, your heart, and your future are too valuable to waste on words that already told you the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something that too many people learn the hard way. When you're in a relationship, the truth about a man doesn't come out in big dramatic moments. It comes out in little statements and throwaway comments, in the words he lets slip when he thinks you're not paying attention. See, words reveal what's in the heart. A man can dress it up. He can act charming. He can give you sweet talk. But if you listen closely, he'll tell you exactly who he is. And when he says certain things, you need to take those words seriously, because they aren't just words, they're warnings. And when you hear them, don't hang around waiting for him to prove you wrong. Don't try to love him into changing his mind. No, when those words hit your ears, the best thing you can do for yourself is walk away immediately. Now, the first one is the most common trap. When a man says, I don't want anything serious, that's your cue. He's telling you his limits. He's telling you what he's not willing to give. But too many women hear that and think, maybe he just doesn't know what he wants yet. Maybe I'll be the one to make him see what love feels like. That's a mistake. Men don't stumble into commitment. When a man wants something serious, you'll know it, because he'll pursue you with intention. If he says he don't want something serious, don't try to be the exception. Don't think your loyalty or your love will change his mind. All you're doing is signing yourself up for heartache, because he already told you what the ending looks like. The second one is more subtle, but it's just as dangerous. When a man tells you you're too much or you're too emotional, he's not complimenting you. He's not playfully teasing you. He's sending you a message that he doesn't value your feelings. And here's the truth. Your feelings are not a weakness. Your emotions are not a burden. They are part of what makes you real, part of what makes you compassionate, part of what makes you human. A man who truly loves you will not make you feel ashamed for expressing yourself. He won't tell you to shrink so he can feel comfortable. If he says you're too much, what he really means is he doesn't have the strength or the maturity to handle you. Don't dull your shine so a man can see himself clear. Then there's the one that sounds sweet at first. A man looks you in the eye and says, I'm not like other guys. Now, I know that might make your heart flutter. It sounds like he's different, like he's trying to separate himself from all the men who wasted your time before. But here's the thing. Men who are really different don't announce it. They don't have to. They show you in how they treat you and how they stay consistent and how they handle disagreements and how they love you when no one's watching. The man who loudly claims he's not like the others is often the one who ends up being exactly like them. He's hoping those words will make you lower your guard, stop asking questions, and start trusting him before he's earned it. Don't trust the declaration, trust the evidence. One of the clearest red flags is when a man tells you, I don't believe in marriage, or I'll never get married. Listen, if marriage is not what you want, then fine, maybe that doesn't bother you. But if marriage is your dream, if that's what you've been praying for, if that's the vision you have for your life, then that statement right there should make you stop in your tracks. Too many women think, well, he just hasn't met the right one yet. Maybe I'll change his mind. But all that does is put you on a long, painful waiting list for something he already told you he'll never give. You don't need to waste 5 or 10 years of your life trying to convince someone to believe in something they already rejected. If you want marriage and he doesn't, that's not a difference you can negotiate. That's a deal breaker. And the last one, the one that should make you run the fastest, is when a man says, you'll never find anyone better than me. That's not love. That's arrogance. That's manipulation. That's a man trying to trap you with fear so you don't realize your own worth. Because if a man truly believed he was the best thing in your life, he wouldn't have to say it. His actions would show it. His consistency would prove it. His love would make you feel it every day. But when a man has to say those words, what he's really saying is, I know I'm not giving you what you deserve, but I'm scared you'll find out you can do better. That's insecurity dressed up as confidence. And if you fall for it, you'll end up chained to a man who doesn't value you, but wants to keep you from leaving. Ladies, relationships aren't about guessing games. They're not about ignoring the obvious. They're about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for less. A man who loves you will not confuse you with his words. He won't use excuses to hold you back. He won't plant seeds of doubt in your heart. He will uplift you, encourage you, and make his intentions clear. But when you hear these statements, I don't want anything serious, you're too much, I'm not like other guys, I don't believe in marriage, or you'll never find anyone better than me. Those are not just words, they are warnings. And the smartest thing you can do, the strongest move you can make, is to listen, believe him, and walk away before his words turn into years of wasted time.